We're now going to look at the hydraulic structure called a drop structure. The purpose of the drop structure is to dissipate energy and to slow the water down so it does not cause erosion to the channel. So a drop structure would minimize erosion in the channel when the overall slope of the channel is too large, so we'll install the drop structures to dissipate the energy. The brown line on this slide shows the ground slope. If you were to build a channel at that slope and that particular soil type, the soil would erode. So alternatively, you build the channels and then put the drop structure in between lengths of channels. So you can see now the channel bottom slope is flatter, and then it flows into a drop structure where the excess energy is dissipated. The flatter slope of the channel hopefully will not erode. This is an example of a multiple step drop structure. So you can see it's coming down a fairly steep hill, and at each one of the steps energy is dissipated. The source of this photograph is the textbook by Roberson et al., 2018. The drop structure we're going to analyze is shown on this slide. This source of this drop structure was taken from F.M. Henderson textbook that was produced in 1966. So you can see at the left end of the drop structure, the critical depth will exist. It will flow down. Part of the flow will recirculate, and part of the flow will then go through a hydraulic jump before it goes into the channel. Now you notice here I have added, we're going to assume that the normal depth exists downstream from the drop structure. You'll also notice in this particular design, the step in order to induce the hydraulic structure is given as 1/6 of the depth of the water exiting the structure. There are two components to the drop structure. One is the length needed for the drop. The other one is the length needed for the hydraulic jump. This is a combination of both theory and experiment. The solid lines here represent the theory, and the dashed lines represent the experimental results. We're going to be utilizing this graph in order to determine the energy loss through the drop structure. This figure is also from Henderson 1966, and it's figure 617. The steps for solution of the drop structure problem: we're going to use a lingo program to determine the critical depth as it enters the drop structure. The drop structure will be a rectangular channel configuration. And then from figure 617 on the previous slide, we'll determine E2 divided by YC. We'll then determine the initial energy. Step 4 then to determine the energy dissipated per structure. Step 5, determine the total energy to dissipate, and then estimate the number of the required drop structures. Finally, we'll determine the length of each drop structure. This page can be printed so that you can work the example and write down as you're going through it. This page is also found in file MC-000, excuse me, not MC, but HS-000.